Form is going to buy all those.
I'm gonna buy one too.
Okay, we have the two only customers here in the building.
Are you a big game hunter? Taking over the broadcast is Jake Bushaney, and by his side is Ryan Avery. Viewers are calling the Shoot to Hunt podcast the next hot tamale. Mind you, this show does not permit young ears. You'll be wanting a bar of soap in your mouth by the end of the show. Enjoy the broadcast and keep those little ears covered.
What is a fucking moose knuckle, anyways?
It's a bigger camel toe.
A bigger camel toe.
Yeah. So imagine a heavier set camel toe.
Okay. So you're seeing everything.
What was that?
Thought it was the other way around.
No, like a camel toe is much smaller than a moose knuckle.
Camel toes from a girl.
We're all talking like that
Moose
versus
knuckles from
that.
a dude.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Lizzo has a moose knuckle, not a camel toe.
I've never heard that.
We've already got off track.
Good Lord. Well, you just said moose knuckle a minute. I've been thinking about moose knuckle for 3 minutes now. Like,
We'd have to go to
moose knuckle?
what's the Urban
You heard that
Dictionary?
before?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
the odd man out.
You haven't heard that?
It's an age thing.
You got, I mean, we're dragging these guys into the pond too. You guys heard of moose knuckles? Imagining?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
New for me.
New for
I
you.
learned something today.
We do have an exciting project that we teamed up with MRC, Montana Rifle Company. And see, and he cut me off right in the middle.
Sorry, primarily a male can be used for a female.
Oh,
What, moose knuckle?
it's fluid. It's fluid.
Primarily.
What does that mean? Like, are we talking about the blurry line between male and female now? Like maybe it looks like a female, but it's got junk?
I think it's planned. It could just be both.
Okay.
I'm fluid.
You're right in the middle.
I'm fluid.
Luckily, Trump's back, and they're all only male and females now.
There's right and there's wrong.
Yeah.
There's innies and there's outies. Okay, let me start again. We are excited to announce a product we're doing at MRC, Montana Rifle Company. We finally got pretty much all the pieces. Form has been testing their rifle with the rock stock. And we finally got a podcast together with the guys, and we're going to talk more about the project that is going to be announced at the Western Hunting Expo, 3.5 weeks away. So guys, MRC guys, welcome to the show.
Yo.
Thanks, guys.
Maybe a little intro on who's on the call and what y'all do at MRC.
I'm Ian. I'm the design engineer for Montana Rifle, and I machine stuff and design stuff.
Nice. Brian Anderson. I'm the community director, brand manager for MRC. Work with personnel, looks, styles, things like that.
Awesome. I'm Caleb Sorrells. I'm just one of the marketing guys. Pull a trigger occasionally, but nothing special.
You look like you're ready to go duck hunting. Is that true?
I mean, might have been waist deep in water earlier today.
Ah, nice.
Good for you.
I think he might be sitting in a kayak as we speak.
That's why he's got the fake backdrop.
Might be a little more into it than we think.
No, it's just a blank white wall behind me, but it's howling the wind out there. If I was outside, you would know it right now.
Huh. Now, at some point, I think for me, I'd actually like to hear how this happened. Is at some point you guys decided you needed help speccing out rifles, or like how did you guys get to the shoot to hunt part? Did you meet somebody? Was it the rock stock in particular? Like what drove you guys to find?
Can I jump in there real quick? Because I think it started before that, and I'd get to that part, but it started with your junction rifle with Form on rock slide. Is that where it all began? Can you kind of go through that process on why in God's green earth you'd give Form a rifle to begin with and take it from there?
So we sent a rifle over to Form to have a no bullshit evaluation done on it. We knew that it was going to be heavily tested and get the snot beat out of it, and that's what we wanted. And right off the bat, it was pretty much known that, everything's going to be public, good or bad. And unfortunately, it started off just a little bit rocky. So I obviously got in touch with Forum trying to work through some of the problems, and we got through that and kind of started a dialogue up about it. Seemed to be a really big fan of the rifle. Forum was, after we got the couple of little minor hiccups going on there, and then he and I kind of started talking about like the ideal hunting rifle, and the Rock Stock and the Rock Slide collab with Shoot to Hunt has pretty much blossomed out from there, and it's been a lot of back and forth conversations, picking everybody's brain of what's going to make the ideal hunting rifle. It's going to be built right the first time. It's not going to be something that you have to worry about taking out in the field. It's something that's proven out that you can slap your optics on it, zero it, and go out and trust the thing, and it's going to perform how it's supposed to be. So it was all kind of an initial conversation of what can we do to solve a lot of the problems that everybody has when they get a new rifle, and just have it work right off the bat. Everything done as correctly as absolutely humanly possible right off the bat from the company. And it just kind of blossomed from there.
It's interesting to me because we get a lot of review products, and a lot of companies, as soon as we had this right after we had a company send us a rifle, and it was a disaster. Not as bad as the Junction. What is it kind of company like SOP to say, hey, we want to be able to fix these rifles public, behind public, however it gets done, it doesn't matter. We just want to put out the best product, period. Because there's a lot of companies that send Rockslide to review, and we start reviewing it, and they don't like that public, basically, I don't know if it's spotlight on their, not necessarily disaster, but they have failure products that they haven't tested, get it on Rockslide, and we're showing the failures. So your company, like mantra, must be you want to put out a quality rifle, and it showed in that review, because you guys didn't miss a beat. Because say what you want about Forum, he's going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that started off real ugly. What was the inner dialogue over MRC when that was going on?
It was a little bit of panic, I mean, there's no doubt we thought we had a lot of those things figured out. Internally, we knew coming back with Montana for the third time. This is not the first time Montana's been, kind of brought back to market. We knew we had to do the things right, but at the same time, we're archery guys. I mean, we know guns. That's why we brought Ian in here, to do the best we possibly could. But we also wanted outside sources to kind of, put the pressure on it that we knew that you guys could bring, or they could bring to us. So yeah, a little bit of panic, but at the same time, it was good. I mean, we knew good, bad, and different. We were going to get feedback that we were expecting, somebody like, you guys to do, or Form to do, to get us the right way to go the right direction.
Like on the, I always look at it from, because I talk to marketing people every day, and I'm sure your marketing side was like, what in the hell are you guys doing?
It was a little nerve wracking. I mean, at that time, Caleb wasn't even with us, so it was kind of, Kristen. She's kind of the sweet girl in the office, and she was straight up panicking. Like, what are they? Like, now this is kind of what we expected. So, yeah, there's definitely some fingernails eaten down, and some lots of questions of, did we actually do the right thing? But in the long run, we're really proud that we were able to do it with you guys.
Time and time again, when people write it out and you're public about your problems and you fix those problems, it always ends up positive and kind of golden on your part, and you end up selling twice as many as you would, because most people just hide and run. Like, there's been multiple companies on here that had issues, and they grab their product and run, and a lot of times they either collapse or they just have a hard time growing. So kudos to you guys.
On that,
Appreciate
that.
my perspective of it was the issues weren't serious. They were serious, but they were small, if that makes sense, right? They were easily solvable. The guts of the gun were very good, right? That was the biggest thing I was looking at, like the design and the guts of the action, the barrel quality. It's a good design. They're doing it right. And then their response from embarrassment, but absolute desire to correct it across the board. And as a customer, because that's the way I view it, I don't expect perfection. I want honesty and fix the problem. So when I see a company's like, yep, we screwed that up, this is how we fixed it, This is what we implemented so it doesn't happen again. And then they show that. That matters to me a whole lot more than the thing being perfect in the beginning.
Makes
I would
sense.
appreciate it.
So fast forwarded into this, I don't know for sure if this rifle has a name because I left it kind of open-ended on that poll because I always leave you guys. What's that?
This is the Marshall.
The Marshall. I like it. I liked the, what was the other, what was the letters, 3 letters. Can't remember now.
CMR.
I like the CMR, but I'll take this. I'll take the Marshall. Sounds nice and easy to remember. So what was the thought process on, I understand why you'd want to go back and talk to Form about building a rifle, but on that same token, you always run into the problems of maybe it doesn't, fit your consumer model. Can you kind of talk the process of how you got to the Marshall and how you brought, I guess, Rock Slide and Shoot to Hunt into the fold and for the bottom metal?
Me? You? Me?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, like I said, it was just kind of that trying to make the ideal hunting rifle. And really, I mean, we're a rifle company. To be perfectly honest, like I said, we're mostly an archery company. And as far as that aspect of usage of the rifle, we're pretty green on that. So when you want to market something to somebody, you really need to go to the experts, and Shoot to Hunt University is kind of the experts on that stuff. So we just take a lot of input and try to devise that ideal hunting rifle out of that. That's about all I can think of. I mean, we knew we wanted to have a DBM simply because, a top loading rifle is good, solid, it's good. But when you really want to throw a lot of rounds down range, top loading all that makes it a real pain in the butt. It's nice to have a magazine fed. So we spec'd out that we wanted an AICS magazine on there. And, we make pretty much everything on our guns in-house with the exception of the stock. So this is a huge departure from us. Even speccing out and having make the bottom metal, but UM's got experience in making that AICS bottom metal. It's not their first try on it, so hey, why go through the R&D process with us and just have do the stuff that they know how to do, and pretty much just tapping the ideal Western backcountry rifle that's not gonna. It's not going to break the bank. It's not a full-on custom rifle. It is going to be an off-the-shelf rifle, but it's going to be equipped as such that you really slap your optics on it and get out there and kill stuff. That's the main goal on it.
Well, I've shot this rifle a total of 3 times, and it's 308 configurations because it's been in 2 different configurations to my knowledge. So I will let Form and Chris kind of go through their thought process on actually using it in the field and killing some animals in the field.
Well, starting from it, this started with MRC asking, kind of like, hey, can you do a real evaluation on the gun? And at SHOT Show, there was questions of like what that means, and kind of start with, 8 to 12,000 rounds is where you really want to be to actually see if something works. And that was the goal, 10,000 rounds by this SHOT Show. And I think we're going to make it on the 308. We're going to be between 9 and 10,000 round long. But the thing that happened real quick is shooting 10,000 rounds, loading 4 at the top, 4 in the top for 10,000 rounds is just not that's not a thing. So, I talked to them about MRC about it, and they had a couple of spare CDI bottom metals, so they sent that, made a lash. We made it work with the factory stock. It greatly improved the capability of the gun at that point as far as just shooting it. That's how Chris initially shot it. And then the whole time Ian and I were talking, we need a rock stock for this thing. You put a really good modern version stock on it, you've got a real gun that will compete with basically anything else out there. And that, for me, that's where it started was, hey, the gun does work. It works phenomenally once we got the issues in the beginning worked out. How do we make it better?
Enhance your shooting experience with STOCKY'S stocks. Are you tired of struggling with mediocre rifle stocks that hinder your performance? Imagine having a high-quality rifle stock that not only enhances your accuracy, but also provides superior strength in a lightweight build. STOCKY'S Stocks offers a wide range of premium rifle stocks manufactured with hand layup carbon fiber construction, a patented carbon fiber AccuBlock, and multiple finish options. Whether you're a long-range shooter or a hunting enthusiast, our stocks are perfect for you. Experienced unmatched precision and durability with STOCKY'S stocks. We provide stock installation instructions, technical support, and guidance to help you choose the right stock for your rifle. Upgrade your shooting game today with STOCKY'S stocks.
So, you can go ahead, Chris, as far as when you started shooting it and what you saw.
Well, initially the kinks getting worked out of the rifle were absolutely necessary, and for me, it was exciting to recognize that MRC was committed to actually taking the feedback and the objective criticism and changes to heart, and be willing to commit to incorporating all of the design corrections and the why behind the design corrections into their manufactured product. And from the initial rifle testing to where it's come now and what it is going to be, truly this is going to be, in my opinion, the classic American hunting rifle, that in potentially the best American made hunting rifle ever produced in the history of American firearm manufacturing. And that's a bold statement.
Did you say best?
That's a bold statement. And when you take the rifle from bottom to top and you start with a rifle that is functionally safe, and then you have a rifle that has the ability to consistently feed, fire, extract, eject, is built correctly, meaning that there are no coal restrictions, that the throat geometries are designed optimally for modern projectiles delivered out of an AICS magazine, with a trigger that works in all weather conditions, whether it's dust or ice or snow or moisture. It's simply going to be a delivery system that is turnkey out of the box. When you couple it with the recommended rings and the recommended optics based on the testing and the evaluations, there sincerely is not a better, more functional platform, in my opinion, that's ever been offered by any firearm manufacturer ever.
Well, that goes into, if I remember correctly, Ian, you and I, once we started talking, and then you guys said, okay, let's do a rock stock for it. It seemed like it happened real quick that you and I started talking about, what would we do if we were king for a day with this? As far as not just put the rifle together, but how would you build the entire system so that, from my view, I could walk into the store, know the rifle is assembled correctly, it's Loctited, it's thread locked, it's degreased, everything is correct. Grab it, mount scope correctly, and never take it apart. Because when I get a gun, the whole thing comes apart. I don't care who it comes from. I don't care what company. Everything comes apart. I degrease everything. I've got to put everything back together correctly. Thread lock everything, torque it. There's no, in 99% of guns, and all factory guns, I've got to modify them. I've got to sand the barrel channel. I've got to relieve the inlet to get a magazine to feed correctly. I mean, Tikkas, you don't have to do that, but you got to screw at the barrel channel. You got to worry about the screws pulling through on the bottom metal sometimes if you torque it tight enough. What is the torque that goes on it? What's the barrel torque that goes on it? And so from, let's do a rock stock for this rifle, to what happened if the factory just did everything for the consumer like people believe they do? So the rifle is, and I don't know if you want to go into like how they're going to be proofed yet, Ian.
Oh, no, we should definitely go into that, because that's kind of an integral part of this project. It's not just about how it's equipped, it's how it's put together and tested too. So, everybody's dealt with a build that they're putting an AICS mag in there, and you got to dink around and get the height set up and everything. Every one of these rifles is going to ship with 2 magazines, and it's going to have a 101 round test with the magazines that actually ship with the gun. those magazines are going to have a little sticker on the bottom of it with the guy's initials that tested it and the last 3 of the serial number on there. And you're going to know when you pick that up that magazine was physically checked with a gun. Now, at the same token, I'm a little OCD about making sure that everything works right right off the bat. So you should be able to swap mags around. That's not going to be an issue, but you walking out of that store, that 100% absolutely those magazines work with that rifle. They're going to work with every other rifle too, but you just know that they're done that way. The barrels are going to be torqued specifically. Everything has to be degreased properly. All the fasteners are going to be Loctited, and we're going to be shooting these things. If they don't hit, Form's benchmark of 10 rounds in an inch and a half, that thing doesn't ship. This rifle is going to be a proven system right off the bat. You add your optics and you go kill shit.
Yeah, and I think on that, just kind of a quick rundown, what we came to was, the barrel's torqued on tight. Everything is degreased. All the action screws, all the assembly is thread locked, torqued to the max specification, not minimum or on the low end. Then you're going to take that gun, you're going to put 100 function rounds through that gun from the 2 magazines that it's going to ship with, because there's nothing more annoying than getting a rifle, looking at you, Browning, and not being able to get a spare mag, because the magazine is the lifeblood of the gun, right? And I still can't get a magazine for this Browning that we're shooting. So you get 2 magazines with a gun, one a flush fit, one an extended. All of the mechanics from, like Chris said, feeding, firing, extracting, ejecting, feeding, are correct. You guys are checking them and make sure they work correctly. Then you're going to take that gun, you're going to shoot 10 rounds. You're not shooting 50 rounds and pulling the best 10. You're shooting 10 rounds, and it's either sub 1.5 or it's not. If it's not, it goes to the side, and then you figure it out. If it is, it goes. And you have to be realistic. You can't shoot 300 rounds through every gun and make sure they're good with every load. But if you put 40.5 grains of H4350 behind a 140 ELDM or ELDX and it doesn't shoot 1.5 for 10, there's something wrong with the gun. If it does, the gun is good. It's going to shoot. And so when you get it out of the box, you don't have to worry. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, but you don't have to worry about, was assembly done correct? You're going to see it and know it. And that's what Chris is talking about, with all of that put together makes it the best quote unquote factory rifle in his view.
See, I think most people think that this happens with every rifle manufacturer. And to my knowledge, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I only know I don't know anybody that shoots 100 rounds, but I know a company that claims they shoot 10. And I'm talking about kind of production, not custom-ish rifles. I know one production rifle company that shoots 10, and I know one that shoots 3. Do you know any that shoot anything like that? Any more than that or more than that?
There's not 100 live rounds being put through the gun. There's 100 dummies to check
function.
Okay. And then 10 half shoot.
10 for 1.5.
So
okay. I was like, damn.
So
they must have extra money on the side.
Unless we're talking Darcy Eccles for Eccles rifles, there's no rifle made where every single gun gets 100 or 50 function rounds through it. I think Tika's and Sacco's get something like 20 or 30 or 15. And then there's another company that we know that does pretty good.
They claim they function shoot 10, but they don't give you an accuracy guarantee.
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody that shoots 10 rounds and gives you an accuracy guarantee. Do you know of any?
I don't think so.
No.
Nope.
That's that right there. I think sets it apart. And I think a lot of the consumers, hopefully not Rockslide consumers, but general consumers think that companies actually do that. And most companies, they fire one shot out of it and send it on its way. And some companies don't shoot any rounds through it and send it on its way.
Or they say they did, and the rifle shows up without rifling in the barrel.
Ooh.
But somehow had an accuracy target in the box with it.
Oh boy.
This is not that's a true story.
So that's 100% true story.
Big name.
Talk to the lawyer involved.
Yeah.
100% true story.
Yeah, big name.
So what else? What else is going on with this rifle?
Well, we didn't really talk about the build spec kind of from nose to butt there.
Oh, yeah.
No, and I also want to make sure we highlight these scope caps that Forum has on this rifle.
Is that what type of packing tape is that?
That is PSA.
Nice. You want that good thick shit.
Yes, that's
You can almost still see through it. You can actually pull the scope up and look through it.
yeah.
What is going on there anyway?
That was from the ice and snow eval.
Oh,
And we definitely need to
okay,
bring
okay.
that into this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's.
My thing with the gun was, this is with everything, and it hurts, right? I think a lot of people. I can like you and like you as a company, but I'm not going to lie for you, right? I didn't with this gun. I didn't with any. And part of this wasn't just shooting 10,000 rounds. It was, what does the gun actually do in worst case scenario? So, last year I started it with like 7 or 10 different rifles where we start way below freezing. I live in a place that's got a lot of snow. And we pour 16 ounces of water in the gun, on the gun, with a loaded magazine, chamber empty, safety on. And then we just throw them in the snow. And then we wait till they freeze, we pull them out, and we see what it takes to get them to run. You can go look last year, the difference between what a factory Tika can do and a factory pre-64 Model 70 compared to everything else, a Howla, Remington, custom Remington actions, Zowers, all of them. It's dramatically different. Some things the Tika does a little bit better because it's a more enclosed action. Certain parts the pre-64 model does better because of that nice big claw extractor and the fact that you can bash the bolt open and not worry about tearing the handle off. Well, we go 16 ounces, then we dry them up, then we do 8 ounces, then 4 ounces, then 2 ounces, and we're trying to see what causes a failure. Where did the gun stop working? So at worst case scenario, it takes about 30 seconds fiddling with a Tika or a pre-64 Model 70 to get it to fire. You cannot, with any Remington-based trigger, get them to work. I think it took 1 hour, 9 minutes in 70 or 80 degrees for that trigger to start working. Couldn't fix it. Just given it, juxtaposing the two. Whereas, 4 ounces, 8 ounces, somewhere in there on a Tika trigger, a Tika gun in action doesn't do anything. Like, you knock some snow off and shoot it. So this year we did the same thing. I just did it with this one. It's on Rock Slide right now. But we only did 4 ounces to start because I was working with another Remington and another custom Remington with a Bix and Andy trigger. Wanted to see what it did. Well, no surprise, the Remington based guns didn't work. This gun and the Tika worked perfectly. Took safety off, rack, bang. There's no.
Going back to Chris saying could be the best rifle on Rock Slide, we always go to eliminating variables. Would you say with that test and this being control round feed that this could be the best all around weathered rifle on the market when it's put out?
I don't think so. You gain something with the claw extractor and the open ejection port, but you lose something, and that's ice can form behind that extractor and lock it up, and that's what happens when they fail. You also gain something with an open trigger system, like a Model 70 old style trigger, but you gain something with a sealed trigger from a Tika, and there's kind of two competing. So what it seems like, and we're going to keep doing it this fall or this winter, is that if you were to pour a gallon of ice or water on this thing in negative 20-degree weather, your best chance for a gun to work is going to be the Tika. It's a more sealed system. But we're talking about ridiculousness at that point. When you look at, 4 ounces of water poured straight into this thing, and I have video on it that I posted, it does nothing to the gun, right? I'm sure 8 ounces isn't going to do anything, but we'll play. Both of those are over the top. Like 4 ounces is starting to get more realistic. 16 ounces of water is, that's not a thing. But where it does go is if you get a ton of water inside the bolt body with the firing pin, it seems like this rifle has a stronger firing pin than the Tika. And the Tikas have strong firing pins. And when you look at the extractor, there's some interesting stuff that seems to be happening where sometimes the Tika, you've got to dry fire 4 or 5 times to get a full firing pin drop. And this one doesn't seem to be the case.
So, like for the layman, it's more apt to be a light strike with a Tikka
Yeah,
than with this rifle.
that's what it seems like so far.
Gotcha.
So this is where I don't think on a basis that from a reliability, durability standpoint, I'm not sure there's a whole lot of difference there. Tikka is a world-class, reliable gun in general. But there are advantages in the moment this goes to the big thing that we saw with the shoot to hunt classes. The moment you introduce human variable into it, that's where CRF starts showing some advantages. As far as we think we pushed the bolt forward, but we didn't realize we actually had the magazine seated all the way. So we pull the bolt back and then we push it forward again. And now you got 2 rounds trying to feed.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't happen with this.
What's funny is me and Jake did a podcast on CRF, kind of poo-pooing control round feeds. And what's funny in our little teaser video for this rifle, Luke, because Luke's great at this, he went and found when I double fed a Tikka during the class, form said that you have to prom queen it to get it out of there, which I thought was an interesting way.
Prom queen.
So unstick the 2 rifles. Yes. Yeah. So I was talking all that shit and Luke went and found the only time in quotes that I double feed the Tikka. So it is a thing.
Speaking of prom queen, I think I probably have the most important question of the podcast here. And that's a question for MRC. Are you guys going to offer this rifle chambered in 7 backcountry?
You're going there.
We are going to be doing another podcast on it too. So I'm curious what you're.
Are we going to get?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Are we going to get long action stocks?
Well, that would be the next batch, I assume. Okay, so are you saying that in the next batch of long actions, you guys are going to offer the 7 backcountry?
We're gonna test it. I mean, we obviously haven't played around with it much. We were able to spend a little time last week with the engineers at Safari or Dell Safari. Don't want to get those mixed up, but we got some pretty cool feedback. I mean, it is a pretty interesting round. 7mm, 7 PRC is obviously pretty hot right now. It's definitely something we're looking at for sure. We're not going to say yay or nay, but we're going to say we're looking at it.
I do have chamber reamers inbound for it.
Oh,
we will be
man.
evaluating it, testing it, and
Check.
shooting it.
Check those ESs.
Wouldn't it be interesting if MRC was like the first company that actually shot, say, 1,000 rounds of 7 backcountry, or if MRC had the first rifle with 1,000 rounds of 7 backcountry actually put through it and open and honest of what it was doing?
I guess we'll find out soon.
Are you saying all these influencers haven't put 1,000 rounds through their rifles?
Probably not.
I think they didn't even make 1,000 rounds of ammo to start. They had to retool all of their machines after 1,000 steel cases went through. Yeah.
We still have to go nut to butt on the build here, what it actually has on it.
Hit it.
This is not my wheelhouse. This is Chris Reform's wheelhouse.
You want it in, or you want me to do it, bud?
Oh, go ahead, dude.
Yeah, there you go. Sell this thing.
Go ahead.
All right. So, in general, it's a short action pre-64 Model 70 copy. So a controlled round feed. Controlled round push feed, I guess you'd say, because it can be push fed if you just drop a cartridge in the chamber. It's got an integral 20 MOA, or an integral Picatinny rail, 2-piece. That's kind of the guts. So the rock stock, of course, and then an AICS compatible bottom metal with, I believe we're going to ship it with an extremely short latch and a long latch, right? Or no?
There will be somewhat what we're going to call it like a butterfly style. So it's going to slightly protrude on the DBM trigger guard so that you can bring that finger forward and catch the edge.
Okay.
On either side, left or right. But it's still short and tucked up inside there. No, definitely a hunting style, you're not going to accidentally, engage the mag drop.
So AICS mag on 18 and 22 inch barreled models, with 18s being first, I believe. lightweight barrel. I think it's very similar to a T-Kit C3 light contour, and threaded 5/8 24. And then the assemblage, as we were talking about earlier, and then the testing it and test fire.
TI Pro 4 brake.
Oh yeah, it comes with a brake. I forgot
Yep.
about that.
Does it come with a gold trigger?
God, no.
Does not.
Thank you.
Hey, only the 7 backcountry will come with a gold trigger.
Silver trigger.
Now, Form was very, very open that I was not allowed to have any gold bands or gold triggers on this gun.
I also, that's a good opportunity. I appreciate the fact that you guys didn't want to, because we offered several branding options for you on the products that you were getting, and you shied away from that, and I appreciate that. I think that when you get the rifle, if it didn't, scream MRC on every single part on the rifle, it's kind of a benefit too.
And one
Keeps
other
it
piece,
stealth.
yeah, one other piece, was modified bolt handle.
Modified bolt handle, and the rock stock is a railed rock stock with the new Trinity rail.
That's right.
So it'll be an Arca
Yep.
pick with a Spartan in what do I call that? Inset boss. So in other words, it's not protruding down from the bottom of. Yeah, it's a flush boss on the bottom, so you can still do shooting off a backpack and whatever else, and still have that rail up front.
Yeah, and the bolt handle is a kind of a modified design that Ian did of the UMTK handle. That
Mm-hmm. Got that 1-inch round knob on there.
it makes racking it, especially the way we teach it.
What we didn't talk about that at all. Is the barreled action going to come with a steel colored barrel and a black? I mean, what is the barreled action overall color going to be?
Black.
Okay, all black.
Black.
Okay, and then we're
Any color you want, as long as it's black.
there. You go.
Perfect.
And then we're working on a few patterns for the rock stock. So the stock is going to be Cerakoted, and then all black on the barreled action.
What?
And the barreled action is stainless. All of our barreled actions are stainless, but it will have we're using Cerakote Elite series on that.
Got it.
Just I like it. It's good stuff. It's got a much lower coefficient of friction, even in their standard H series stuff. So it actually gives a really good feel to it.
Yep.
And it's it's Cerakote.
And the DBM will be anodized.
Yep.
And the questions the consumers want to know: the Marshall will be chambered in. What will the weight be, and what is the MSRP?
It will be chambered in starting off 6.5 Creed. That's simply because that's what I have the tooling for. We are following that up. Also 308, if anybody wants it. It'll be available in 308.
Form is going to buy all those.
I'm gonna buy one too.
Okay, we have the 2 only customers here in the building.
Yep. And then
4 of them want 3.
22
There you go.
Creed, 6 Creed. And we are talking about 6.5 PRC also.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's what we're starting with. We're going to see how those calibers go. It's kind of the same thing we have in Montana in general. We've kind of restricted the amount of calibers compared to what they used to be in the past. We want to be able to ship guns instead of, build guns that, one person wants. We're going to build what most people want. So, and then we'll get into, if we get the long action, we start working on that. That's going to open up a little more options on that too for us. So,
Yeah, we'll be getting into the 7mm stuff when the long actions roll around, but that's a little ways down the road. I think there's a good market for the short action, especially high BC, heavy for caliber bullets. That's kind of the shoot to hunt thing. We're really just keeping our ear to the ground and listening to the market and to the experts, because we're, like I said, we're not necessarily the experts on this stuff, so we want to use what's going to work. Maybe 6 I don't know.
Now we're talking.
I was just gonna say, if you're building a 6.5 PRC, it's not a very, stone's throw away from a 6
Yeah, we are offering loaded ammo for that, so you guys have it in there. So
Right on.
So we know there's 100 available to start. We know that you will have rifle samples at the Hunt Expo. What booth number are you guys?
I think it's 108. We're basically come in the main door, took a right, and we're like within 3 booths of the front door.
Yeah.
So can't miss this.
So you guys will
Yeah,
be able
we
to
gotta
see the rifles there at the show. Are they going to be able to order a rifle at the show?
We will be able to connect them with a dealer to do so. So we're not
Oh,
selling
that's right.
guns direct. We're working through our
Okay.
dealers. So obviously unknown munitions, but we can definitely tie into any brand, any shop that's local. We'll help them get a gun in their hand.
So do you have like, let's say for example, I just walked up to your booth here in a few weeks. Do you have specific dealers you're gonna other than unknown? Like, is there like some online? I mean, are we talking Cabela's or are we talking small dealers?
Small local dealers is what our focus is. We'll basically look regional. We'll find the closest dealer to that home.
Gotcha.
Home shop.
So if you really want one of these rifles, you should talk to your local dealer. Tell them to get in touch with MRC that you want to get a center rifle. Okay, good.
No box stores?
No box.
Ah,
store.
damn,
No.
I like you guys even better.
That's right.
Even
Yeah,
better.
we have we've caught a little bit of flack for the fact that we don't sell anything direct. We like to have dealers. We'd like to have that dealer that's doing your 4473 paperwork. We want that guy to have some skin in the game. So if you buy it online and just have it shipped into your gun shop, that guy doesn't care. All he cares about is $45 or $60 that he's doing for the paperwork. We want him to have a little bit more vested interest in one, customer satisfaction, and two, that way we can make sure that whoever you're dealing with has the knowledge to help you set up. Like, if you need optics, you need to go talk to that guy. It just kind of it's a better customer service when you're dealing with small shops that actually know what they're doing versus a dude that was in the shoe department earlier that week but had to go cover firearms. And yeah, just not really our style. We like to deal with smaller dealers.
Yeah, it's been our roots in the archery industry for a long time is to work closely with our dealers, work closely with our with our retailers. So
With our archery industry stuff.
Is your hand rubbing his back right now? I think
They're
I just
definitely
saw
going to chamber that seven
that
backcountry.
Hey, the 7 broke back is on deck. The fucking the camera angle changed and we caught him. Hey, another point. So we don't charge for transfers if we sell your rifle. So if you guys want to get in line for one of these, send us an email. And so 22 Creed, 6 Creed, 65 Creed, 308, and 65 PRC. Is that correct?
yeah, that's gonna be the main.
So if you want to be one of the first ones in line, we still haven't said the price yet, though. You're gonna have to tell them how much it costs
Or the weight.
And the weight.
and the weight, estimated weight. We technically don't have a full build yet. So
And of course, when you expect these rifles to deliver.
yep.
Yeah, so we're trying to knock down the price, but we think it's going to be right around 3,800. We feel like it's pretty competitive, and we want to be sure it could be a smidge up, could be a smidge down, but nothing too crazy off of that price point. Weight wise is kind of dictating on both sides, stocks and everything we're doing on our side, but we hope to be shipping in March for the guns that we pre-order, basically start showing off in February. So we're hoping March, May, March, April, May, June, we start to really get these things out the door. So
Perfect.
Weight wise, I'm gonna give my ballpark estimate is I think it's going to be about a 6.5 pound rifle. It's not going to be in the ultralight class, but it's going to be shootable.
Oh yeah.
And carryable.
Which on that point, Ian, so they understand, you and I didn't want an ultralight. We wanted something in that right in that 6.5 to 7 pound range that makes a extremely shootable gun.
Functional field rifle.
When you fit
That's it.
exactly.
About 9.5 all up.
Yeah, I think this one in front of me with that scope is like 9.1,
Mhm.
9.2
That's
with a
perfect.
suppressor.
It's perfect weight. Another thing that people ask, barrel lengths.
Oh, 18 and 22. Definitely starting off and leaning really heavy on production on the 18s because, a lot of backcountry hunters are, well, for one, they want a shorter barrel to be able to be handy, but they're also very polite. Always shoot suppressed, folks. So 18 is the one that we're trying to push the most.
Now, is the 18 going to come with a brake or be suppressor ready?
It's going to come with a brake, which I'm guessing probably 75% of the people are going to rip the UM brake off of there and put their can on. But, it gets you out to the range. It is meant to be a system. So, it's meant to be a slap optics on it and go to town.
Speaking of cans, we do have a printed sample of our reflex can out here on the rifle as we speak from Unknown Suppressors. It'll be half around the barrel and half out front, and it does look sexy.
Mm-hmm.
These suppressors will be ready right around the time you're about to ship that rifle too. So if you guys are interested in that, include that in your email. rifles@unknownmunitions.com.
I'm gonna get to touch them at Western.
Yeah, we'll actually have, so we'll have 2 real printed titanium versions of the reflex can, as well as 3D printed versions of the 3 different cans that we're looking at. There'll be a display there, as well as the lead designer / business runner for that company will be there as well.
Excellent.
Yes.
Congrats.
Question of the week powered by ADG.
When are you going to run the Creedmoors again?
Currently, we're kind of reevaluating the reintroduction of the Creedmoors, or what we call the smalls. And right now, we're looking at maybe Q4 of 2025.
We'll be talking.
Yes. Well, I'm looking at the printed one here on this rifle. It was like, when you get that, the suppressor's almost close to the stock. It has that short, stubby look, and it looks really nice.
Looks cool.
Yes.
I like that short, stubby look myself.
There you
That's
go.
just what is more consumer talk? What is the trigger adjustable, and what does it come set at?
So the trigger is it's a direct clone of the pre-64 Winchester. Way better materials, way higher materials. We changed a lot of stuff on it from the regular pre-64 with the spring rate on it. It is adjustable for preload and over travel. It's not adjustable for sear engagement because I really want to keep this as a hunting trigger. It's meant to be a hunting trigger. It's meant to be able to, get 4 or 8 ounces of water poured into it. So we preset them at sub 3 pounds. They're usually 3.5 pounds when we preset them. I do give the guys a little bit of a range to be able to do that, but the over travel is already preset. They break very cleanly, and you can put a little bit more weight onto it, but it's not going to back off a whole heck of a lot lower than 2.
Well, I'm guessing it's probably 2.5 pounds right now, maybe 2 3/4. But I adjusted it, or Ian kind of sent a spring. It's got a lot of over travel. It's like hitting a pillow when it breaks. I don't think any person has shot the gun and not commented on how good the trigger is. And that over travel is phenomenal for positional shooting. Like, people think they want the trigger to break and then stop immediately, and that makes the whole system jar. When you get that pillow back in where it breaks and then you hit a pillow with the trigger, it's different. But once you start shooting it,
You don't want to shoot anything else. Yeah.
Chris,
we are setting with the minimal back travel just because that seems to be what
People think they
what
want.
most of the uneducated like.
Mhm.
Yep.
putting you on the spot, Chris.
Oh boy.
They hand you the Tika, same setup with the rock stock. They hand you this. Which one you taking?
I'm taking the MRC.
That
Yeah,
wasn't even
easy.
a fucking
No.
second.
No, in fact, that's my purchase for 2025 is one of these as soon as they're available.
Wow.
I just want to, because people will harp on that. The Tika is an
Great
excellent
rifle. Not getting rid of mine.
However, there's room for multiple excellent rifles. That's not the point, right?
Mhm.
And there's things that I like for a Tika that I like better than this rifle. But when we're talking just, hey, you got them sitting up in a corner, you're going on a backcountry hunt or a hunt in the West, you don't know what you're going to deal with, I'm choosing that rifle right there. And that's what I've done this year on purpose.
Wow.
That's actually a good question. Is the MRC control round feed / push feed actually going to be available to build on?
Not yet. Now our production bottleneck is the 5. What
Uh-oh.
are you laughing at?
You dropped off.
We can still hear them though. They're bantering.
Yeah.
I don't know.
At some point, yes.
Yeah.
Right now, we're every action's going into build.
What?
Can you
Okay.
hear us?
Yes.
Repeat that, what you said. Can you buy that action?
Trying to reconnect. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Oh, you can still hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, not yet, just because the fact that our 5-axis mill is the bottleneck for our production, and all available receivers are going to buildable rifles right now. As soon as I get the extra headspace to be able to sell extra receivers, they will be available.
Perfect. You're gonna send those to unknown,
We've
right?
also got
other
things coming out.
I didn't know if I heard you correctly. You did say you were going to send those to unknown.
Blaine is very high on the list. Yes, he wants to do.
I can't imagine.
Well, when you have 5 extra or 10 extra, whatever the number is, we'll take them.
Sounds good, boys.
Sounds good.
Well, we're at an hour. Do you guys have any parting shots? You'll be at the Western Hunting Expo. The rifle that Form tested and shot will be there, correct, guys? It'll be there. It'll have what's the said 10,000 rounds through the 308?
So we're getting close. Yeah, it's going to be between 8 and 10,000 rounds. That it's going to have by the time it gets there. Most of it. I mean, you can look at the stock and see it's been beat on heavily.
Is it pretty easy to say this will be the only rifle there that has fucking 10,000 rounds through it? I would say yes too.
That's a first in the American hunting.
And your guys' booth number is again
108ish. I probably should look them up real quick. Hold on, I'm gonna look at that.
Did we lose them? Are they dead?
They're on they are on the first row, the hundreds. So
Caleb?
you walk through main doors, make a right.
Yes, it looks like they're frozen. It should be 108. Take a right through the front door. Will be in the first couple of booths.
Okay. Any parting shots?
For the Hawaiian shirts.
Yes. Look for the Hawaiian shirts. Got it. Caleb, you need to make sure that they pay their internet bill next time, their Wi-Fi bill.
Oh, it's awful. I mean, this is every meeting we have. Every time.
Just get
Can't
started.
hear them half the time. There's static. It's every meeting.
Yeah, there is little feedback coming from you guys. Not you, Caleb. Them too.
Yeah.
Not to
I
harp
think
you.
the only thing that
It's actually 8. So it's
I think the only thing that I
1810.
Sorry.
1810. Okay.
Yeah, you were a little off.
there's a 1 and 8.
There's maybe a 1 and an 8 somewhere in there. So 1810, yes, come in through the main entrance, hang a right on the first row where you see booths on both sides, and they're right on your left, Montana Rifle Company.
Okay, can we get parting shots from 3 individual people over there on the Marshall?
Buy it.
Now, come check it out. We're really excited to bring this to market. We're really excited to team up with Unknown on this. I mean, I think this is going to be one of the coolest guns for 2025 out of all brands.
No doubt.
Caleb, bring us home. Bring us home, Caleb.
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited for it. I mean, it's kind of a first of a backcountry control round feed thing that I know of, and I do know that the first batch will have something small added into them as a little added.
Hey,
we're not
nice.
sure what it is.
Probably a
We
gold
got a
trigger.
few things up our sleeves that we're considering, but they may have a gold trigger.
Yeah, that's right.
The gold member.
Oh my goodness.
But no, we're excited for it.
Form, Chris, any parting shots?
I think just one thing I will say is that you mentioned that you're primarily an archery company, and I think that this is going to place you soundly into a firearms manufacturing company, and the willingness that your organization is committed to taking the input and the objective criticism and what truly makes a functional rifle available over the counter and bringing that actually to fruition is going to land you a solid position in the firearms manufacturing industry.
Nice.
We appreciate that.
Krampus.
Frankly, unless MRC decides to screw everybody on purpose, it's unique. It's from a functional aspect. I don't think there's no factory gun like it. 100% not in America. One could make the case some of the European guns are pretty solid, but feed function, reliability, overall design, Yeah, it's going to be unique to walk into a store, spend $3,000 or whatever, and walk out with a gun you don't have to worry about.
Well said. That's all I have. Jake, anything?
Oh, I'm just a sidekick here.
It's like, to me, I always, as soon as they said 38, it's like in a little bit different category, because then you're in the $4,000 range, and I'm thinking of things that are $4,000 and less,
Like a Fierce.
like a Fierce, like a couple Christensens.
Probably be rifle.
Drop the ball.
This is just some podcast, if I remember right from their podcast.
Yeah.
That does put you into a tier that there is, you have a couple Seekins that are in that mid $3,000 ranges, but there's nothing that I know of, you guys can pile in here, that's in a control round feed, in a rock stock, that has, a better trigger than any Remington platform's going to have. I don't know of anything you can go grab off the shelf that you don't have to custom order, that you can go grab for $3,800 or whatever it's going to be and walk out the door.
There's nothing you can grab for 10 grand that does what it does.
Yeah.
But some people are going to go, why would I do this when I could get a Tika for $700? Your Tika's a great gun. They're not that.
Yeah.
By the time you turn a Tika into that and you send it to Jake or you do it yourself, you're at
the same price.
$3,000, $3,200, $4,000. Then you just have to look at the platforms as they stand alone. The merits of both. Which at that point, they're two good guns. Which one do you like more? And this is the opinion piece of me. Between the two, if they're both just as good, I'm choosing the one made in America by a cool company. I've said that since I started on the internet, that it's ridiculous. The best hunting rifle from a reliability, functional standpoint is a $700 budget finish gun. That's silly to me. It's a great gun. Still isn't that. And you still have to take the Tika apart and do all the work on it.
Right.
All right. Enough said. I don't know what else more we can say about this rifle. Like Ian said, you got to go buy one.
Yep. Come see us.
All right. We will see you guys at the Western Hunting Expo, and we're excited. So thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.